All right, there we go. Sorry. Love those technical difficulties, right? This isn't Quill and Sword if there's not technical difficulties. We love it. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Quill and Sword. As you can see, we are down a Robin tonight, so we are sending our best well wishes to them right now. But we are playing some D&D. This is a dark fantasy campaign. If horror isn't your jam, go watch VERA or SENITA's channels on Twitch or any of these great YouTube channels from these people because they're all creative types and, you know, we want you to enjoy wholesomeness plus some cursing because cursing is great. Yes, exactly. We love each other. We love Syrinscape. That's how we do our sound effects. We are going to start everything out. I have my D&D dice that I got from Barnes & Noble. So they treated me really well on Nerdarchy on Tuesday. So let's see how they fare tonight. I'm going to start with a D4 because I have 4 players tonight. See who's going to recap us. That's SENITA.
I was saying hello to the chat.
Chat is great. We love chat.
I think I got it in. So, what we did was we started off in the beginning with me trying to save the shopkeeper. I failed completely. Mistakes were made. And then, after that, I met up with the crew just as the king was leaving. And I'm gonna pass it off to Megan. It's cool. There you go. I said my bet.
Hey.
Well, it turns out that the whole group basically found our way through the underground kind of sewer area, and we found a place where reality was shifting and warping. Ooh. A lot of shifting and warping. And so we actually ended up finding the guy Charlie. We found Charlie, who was having a grand old time eating food and getting drunk and eating mushrooms or something. I don't know, something like that.
He was tripping.
Yeah, probably. And tracked it down to some people using an egg-like thing to try to warp and change reality. Vera.
Yes, so we so we had gone into this with what seemed like very safe assumption that the vizier of the king was evil, because whoever heard of a good vizier? Well, turns out when we had spied the vizier doing questionable stuff, that was in fact someone else, most likely a changeling pretending to be the vizier, and we ended up finding the head of these changelings that are stuck in this ghetto kind of place, trying to make use of this egg, trying to remember exactly what he was trying to do with it now. It wasn't good, and we fought him. Marissa?
Thank you. So I think what the changeling was trying to do, correct me if I am incorrect, Stephen, it was to kind of take everybody and put them in a different place, like warp dimensions and pull people into places so that they had a space, I guess, but without consent of everybody, and basically doing it in a way that kind of destroyed reality as we knew it. So that was happening, and we said no thank you. And I believe after the confrontation, we got a hold of a phoenix egg, and the phoenix was released, and I can't remember which one it was because there's like a whole, you gotta catch them all, and we've had too many of them in different colors. And I know that it ended with Tempest getting a bit of a redemption But I don't want to say too much more about that, so I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Megan.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about your redemption arc.
Yeah, so Tempest was given the shock of her life when she found out that the spirit of the Tempest and the Queen of Ravens are actually two aspects of the same being.
Mhm.
And she was given the choice to start the process of reuniting. I believe it's still a little fuzzy about whether the dark side is still out there or not. But at least she has broken her pact with the Queen of Ravens and has wants more than anything for things to get better for people. So she has possibly a new dedication now.
Mm-hmm. And we'll get into that in a bit. But first, let's roll that intro.
Back to fun things.
All right, we are back. Yes, we are back to fun things. So, everyone, after your fight, it was a lot. That was kind of a day. You know, by the time you got done, it was late afternoon, but honestly, it was just so much. So, King Korm invited all of you to come back. He does not know what happened, by the way. However, Sarahwyn says she'll fill him in. So, she will stand there in the dusk light from the tall windows that are overlooking the kingdom proper. And she will say, well, I suppose I'll leave you to your own devices for the evening. I will fill in the king, and we will convene in the morning, if that's all right.
Tempest immediately throws up.
Oh my.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
had a day.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
It's pure black. She threw up pure ink black.
Oh. Sarahwyn looks at it. Do you need that looked at? I can call for a healer.
No, I'm sure. I'm fine. I'm sure I'm fine. This will go away. This absolutely will go away. I can normally heal myself. She throws up again.
Oh my. So she will just sort of like cover her mouth and nose a little bit with this bit of the cloak that she has been wearing, and she will then take her leave with a dip of her head. And the night is for the rest of you to enjoy or not enjoy as you see fit.
Nim grabs Tempest by the arm. I think we need to get you to bed. So, you don't seem to be doing very well.
I'm sure it's nothing. I'm dizzy and it was a lot.
Do you mind if I do something to try and help?
Yes, please.
All right. Steven, I want to cast, let's go with Lesser Restoration
Okay.
on Tempest.
Okay. Go ahead and expend your spell slot, and then I want you to make an Arcana roll for me.
Right.
Or Insight, but I'm pretty sure you're going to choose Arcana.
That's a nat 20.
Okay. So, you touch Tempest out with this spell. How does it look when you cast this spell?
There's sort of a low-key warm glow of shifting color, like on the palm of my hand, that's kind of is radiating outwards, and that's what gets pressed to her.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And as your radiating palm gets pressed toward her, Tempest, it feels comforting and bright and warm. And suddenly, Wisp, it's like your body, your soul, something is pulled into Tempest. It almost feels like you're falling into Tempest. And what happens instead, you see flashes of other worlds, other planes of existence, places where the world, where gravity, where the land, where the flow of water doesn't even work the same way. You see flashes of this shadowed figure in a dress that there's hate, there's malice, there's anger, and then you watch as these luminous purple feathered wings, almost like shards of glass are these feathers, as they envelop around, almost like in a hug, of this shadowed figure before igniting in purple fire with an echoing bird's screech. And you pull away and you feel really tired all of a sudden. And Tempest, you experience the same thing.
What the frell was that?
I don't fully know. Do you feel any better?
A little. I think I can get to my bunk now.
Okay.
I need rest and a drink, but not in that order. Maybe. No, everything. I need everything.
One
Sleep
thing
first.
at a time. One thing at a time. All right. So I think trying to help Tempest back to where. I'm trying to remember where we had bunked.
You had
the
rooms
castle,
at the
right?
castle.
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna work on helping Tempest back to the castle.
All right, you guys are in the castle, so
Oh, that's right. We already. So up
you can
to
help her find a room.
a room then.
Yep. You do that, and you get to your room, and the room is clean. It is pristine. Someone has come in to make the bed, and there is a steaming bath already drawn. There, it smells like someone has poured some sort of scented oil. It's like lavender and minty. And you see that even the mirror of the large sort of like U-shaped vanity has been washed and cleaned, and it's shiny, and all of it just looks so inviting. And Tempest, it feels comforting, like in a way that you haven't really felt invited into a place in a long time.
Are you going to be okay, or do you want someone to stay with you?
I mean, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. I'll take a bath and I'll go to sleep and everything will be okay.
Okay.
I'll deal with everything else in the morning. Morning. That's a weird word, isn't it? Just say it. Morning. I have to do this now. I should really lay down.
Yes, I think you should.
Thank you, though, Wisp.
You're welcome.
Meanwhile...
Yep.
I'm sorry.
I was just going to say I'll exit the room.
Okay. Meanwhile, Nim, what are you doing?
Nim is exhausted. It has been a day. So Nim is going to her room to get ready for bed, to have a little quiet cinnamon roll, to whisper goodnight into the Steve's bells, to just, recharge and rest.
Mm-hmm. You find your room is similarly made up. However, your bathwater smells like they've put vanilla and cinnamon in it.
Ooh, delightful. Nim strips down real fast and hops in that bath, and then...
It is warm. It is so warm. It's almost too hot, and then it just, it unwinds every tension. And it just, it sends those shivers, those tingles that start at the tips behind your ears and just wash all the way down to the tips of your toes.
Nim just kind of whispers, I really like this bath. I don't need a visit tonight. Thank you.
You don't get a visit tonight.
Good.
It is actually truly relaxing. Anu, you find your room similarly done up.
Do I get a bath?
Yeah, you also get a bath. Your bath, you don't know how they've done it. It's wild. They have actually gathered herbs from the woodland where you used to call home at one point, way back when, in your childhood memories. And just, those particular herbs on the fringe of the tree line, they've somehow extracted those into an oil. It's spicy, it's sweet, it's a little pepperminty.
I'm about to run a bubble bath right now and just play that.
And you do see that there's even some little baubles. They're meant to just float there, and you can put them behind your back to massage. They're like glass balls, but they have this hollow center that for whatever reason they kind of glow just a little bit with this blue light, and you realize they're enchanted to float. There's not really any complicated thing about it except they float. If you dropped it and broke it, it wouldn't work anymore, but they float.
Nice.
And you also go without a visit. Are you going to meditate in your room? Are you going to meditate elsewhere? Or do you have other plans for the night?
In the bath. Yeah, I'll meditate in the room.
Okay.
That.
And you hear this, what sounds like scratching on brass. And it's at the base of your tub. It's like nails scratching on brass, talons maybe. And it's scratch, and you kind of hear this. And Nuka sort of scrambles his way up onto the edge of the bath. And he sniffs it and he starts to fall in. And he kind of does this backpedal thing, he doesn't want to fall all the way in. And he kind of grips the edge of the tub for dear life. And he's kind of perched there with all four limbs on a single edge. And he just looks at you really intensely, and he goes, Arrgh!
Yes, Nuka is coming into the bath with me.
He will very, very hesitantly allow you to pick him up. He seems like he's afraid of the bath just a little bit.
Oh, we're doing this slowly.
Okay, give me an animal handling check.
Oh man.
Boy, that's a skill that hasn't come up.
Yeah, right. Who needs? Maybe persuasion. Just pretend you have charm. It's an 11.
It's an 11. And he just like you actually 19. Yeah, that'll hit your armor class for sure when you're not wearing armor. You take a point of damage as he sinks his talons into your shoulder. He's like, ah! He is not about this bath life.
Oh, cool. All right, then we're gonna have to do this the tough love way.
Oh no!
We're going under.
Oh my gosh! Okay, make another animal handling check.
Going under.
While you're doing that, my friend Stella's in the chat. I'm so excited. Hi, Stella.
I am going to use my inspiration.
You're gonna use your inspiration? Okay, bet.
Yep. That one fell on the floor. There it is. 21.
21. So he's like, ah, ah, and he's like, talons are everywhere. It's almost like the Cloud of Daggers spell has been cast, but where there's like, you know, no actual magic. It's just talons and more talons. You didn't think these talons could reach as far as they are. And then you kind of find that sweet spot, you know, like how every animal has that sweet spot where it just kind of is like the off switch. And you find it. It's right on his belly. It's right in the tender part of his belly. And your thumbs pressed, and all of a sudden he's like, ah! And you dip him very gently under the water, and he just goes, ah! And he sinks in the water. And all of a sudden you watch as briefly the fear is registering as something else, and you're not sure what it is. And then he just relaxes, and he just enjoys the warmth of the bath then.
It was worth spending my inspiration.
He is enjoying this bath. In fact, I'm going to give you another inspiration because that was a really good, that was very funny. So, you finally get Nuka into the bath, and it is relaxing, and you enjoy it. And he kind of starts like snaking around. Like if you've ever seen a snake in water, he swims that way, where he just kind of like, you know, his whole body veers back and forth. And he's really enjoying himself now. And he even dives under a couple times. And then are you going to rest in your room? Are you going to rest elsewhere?
I'll rest in my room.
Okay, so you rest in your room. Are you looking for anything in particular while you're meditating? Are you looking to connect with any past lives, or are you just kind of vibing?
I'm just vibing.
Okay. So you can meditate. You see some glimpses. They're all pleasant. They're all comforting. You see one past life where you had a family, and your children were gathering around you for a meal. It was really, really enjoyable, very pleasant, very quiet. You see another night where you're by yourself, sitting beneath the silvery moon on a cliffside in a desert. And it's peaceful in a way that no one else could ever understand unless they've sat on a cliffside under the silver moon in a desert. And your night goes by peacefully. Vera, what is Wisp doing after helping Tempest to her room?
The first thing Wisp wants to do is be sure Charlie did not get left behind and is safe somewhere.
Charlie is safe. In fact, he has a room adjacent to yours.
Good. So I'm assuming, is he like passed out at this point, or?
He is very passed out because he was on some stuff and now he is crashing.
Yeah. All right. Wisp is gonna go to their room then.
Okay. So you go to your room and you see your room is laid out very similarly. It seems that for your scent of your bath, they've extracted various oils that give it a woody, earthy smell. It's savory. It's pungent. It's clean. It almost smells like wood smoke, just a hint. But you have one other thing on your vanity. It's a folded piece of paper.
Wisp is going to pull the plug on the bath, let it drain, and go check the paper.
Okay. So you check the paper, and it simply says, "Thank you. I was wrong about you." And it's signed Sarowyn.
Wisp is gonna set that down. We each have our own tarot cards still, right? We're also holding those? Okay. After the tub is drained, Wisp is going to sit in it after it's already emptied of water and is going to take out the tarot card and is just going to kind of stare at it for a bit.
Okay.
Almost a little bitterly, actually.
Bitterly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What are you looking for specifically?
Part of the bitterness and the frustration is not knowing what they're looking for.
Okay.
Wisp right now is very frustrated at not getting this thing.
Okay. So, make an Arcana check. Let's start there.
Okay. That's 10 on the die, which makes it 22.
10 on the die, making it 22. So, you definitely sense there is a strong aura of magic around this. And it's not magic like you know magic. This is something else, something bigger, something older. And do you keep focusing on it?
I want to try and tear the corner. Can it be ripped?
Oh, okay. Give me a strength check.
That is some
Oh,
paper.
Shit. Just a straight check. Well, I don't have any pluses to that anyway, so that's a 19.
A 19. Okay. So you try to tear the edge and you feel like this. I'm trying to think of how to word it. You feel a backlash. Like it's intense, it's sudden, it's violent, it's angry, but it's invisible. It's almost like something that utterly repels you has been shoved, pressed, no, shot against you. And through sheer force of will and viscera of strength, you manage to avoid being sent flying across the room. You feel something old, something dark, something possibly chiding. Something, it's almost like you feel like you are a child with your hand caught in a cookie jar and someone who you don't want to watch you has watched you.
We've taken an awful lot for granted with you and the rest of them like you. What is it that you aren't telling me? And Wisp is going to set the card on the side table of the bed and just stare out the window.
Okay. So you set the card on the table. And You notice that as you sit it on the table, it has like an almost holographic appearance to it when it catches only the moonlight. It doesn't have this in sun. It doesn't have this indoors.
I'm going to pick it back up and try and catch the light fully.
If you play any trading card game and you know what holofoil is, that's what this looks like.
Is it just an effect on the image that is already there?
Yeah. You got really quiet, Vera.
Oh. Yeah, no, I hadn't. Can you still hear me?
Yep, there you go.
Okay.
You're back.
Sorry. What am I still doing here? This. And again, just the frustration, slamming the card down back on the side table, face down, doesn't want to look at it, and flops onto the bed.
You feel a shiver, a tingle. It's cold. It's uncomfortable. It's not coming from the card. You're not sure where it's coming from, if it's coming from anywhere, honestly. But something is off. Something is amiss.
It's not my best stat, but can I do a perception roll?
Sure.
That's an 8.
An 8. The shadows shift in the moonlight, the trees outside casting them from where your balcony stands. And you'd swear once in a while you see something in them, but it could just be a trick of the light. Have you heard that honk? That was my neighbor. That's not a sound effect.
I did hear it. Yeah.
Yeah, that is not a sound effect. That was just my neighbor, because my office is right next to their driveway.
Wisp laying on their back and just sort of staring at the ceiling. If anything has something to say to me, just say it. I'm really tired.
Nothing comes. Make an insight roll.
Insight. That is no better than perception. Ooh, rolled nice though. That's an 18.
As you sit there, lie there in the quiet, you realize the card, it's magic. It's old magic. It's magic you're probably not ever going to understand. It doesn't follow the rules that magic is supposed to follow. It doesn't abide by the laws that are tangential to the laws of physics. But the card itself is not what's giving you this. This is coming from inside you. This is you.
Wisp sighs and very forcefully, like as a almost as if trying to slam a door shut, shuts their eyes and rolls over and tries to shut it all out.
Okay. You tell me what happens.
I am going to make a call now that Wisp is going to get max short rest. If we want to say gets no sleep at all, viable.
Okay.
Wisp has a restless, fitful night of laying down and trying to stay still, mind racing, not even to anything in particular. It is darting back and forth. It is going all over the place because it doesn't know where to settle. And they'll lay there, take a breath, mind races again, roll over, try again, almost the entire night. They can't settle. They can't calm themselves enough to get a handle on what's going on. And failing to sleep is not helping.
Okay. You do get your short rest, but the night passes fitfully for you. Tempest. What do you do following following your arrival at your room?
Tempest commands her armor to become just a little headband, and then strips down and takes a bath. Enjoys that very much. Cries some tears of completely black ink. Wipes her nose a bunch, which is also lots of colors I don't want to go into. She feels drained. But after cleaning herself up and everything, she tries to get dressed in something comfortable and trance. She's never needed to trance this much before ever. She's never been this exhausted ever. No matter how much walking she's done, no matter how much, she's tired at like this core emotional level where she can't even consider that she exists. Like that's just too heavy a weight right now.
Yeah.
And she just lays down in the comfy bed and trances for as long as she can. Right? I know it's only supposed to be 4 hours, but this is not that kind of thing. She will trance until someone wakes her up.
Roll
Or-
insight.
Yeah, insight. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Insight, not one of Tempest's greatest skills. You understand, right? Ooh, dear God.
Mm-hmm.
That would be everyone else here can see it on my dice cam. That is actually a 1.
Okay.
I can, if I don't know how important it is. Should I spend an inspiration? Insight.
To you.
Critically failing on your insight seems like really bad.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll spend an inspiration on it. I don't
Okay.
know what would happen, but it can't possibly be good at a time like this.
Okay.
Well, okay, it's a 1, but not a critical failure. It's only a 1.
Okay.
Wait a minute. It's not. It's a dirty 1.
Okay.
It's a 2 on the die and then -1.
Oh,
So
I am not meant to pass this.
you lean back, close your eyes, and you open them. You aren't in the castle bed. You aren't in any bed you've ever recognized. The bed you're in has sheets, silken and velvety, black as night. It's almost like they drink away the light. You see that the bedposts of this high-rising curtained bed are ornate with what looks like carved skeletal features. Hands grasping on hands as they go up. The curtains of the bed, a black lace with embroidered what seems almost like a spider's web design, but where the web creates and connects to make these strange, bizarre skeletons of creatures you've never known or seen. The entire room is lit with these sconces that are a shifting fire between green, blue, and purple, casting the only light in the room in these different hues, all in unison.
Lydia? No, that's not right. Huh. Where am I? She gets. I don't. If she wasn't standing, she'll stand.
Yeah, you can get off the bed.
Get off the bed and start to look around, because this is not like anything Tempest has seen before. The
entire
she just
room,
starts poking around.
The room is decorated in shorthand version. It's like the Addams Family decorated it. Longhand version, there are skulls, there are bat imagery, but the bats have feathers. Maybe they're birds. You see there is a large floor mirror that stands about 8 feet tall, and it's about 3 feet wide. It's massive. This is where the vanity was in your room. The entire room looks like it's carved of obsidian. In fact, as you stand from the bed, you realize the bed itself, it almost like it grew out of the floor.
I take a glance at the mirror. Does the mirror work?
The mirror works,
Do
but it
I
only
see my-
shows you. It doesn't show the room around. It doesn't even show the floor. Outside on your balcony, the trees are gnarled, curled, spiky, thorny, with blue and black bark. The moon outside is a pale gray that casts everything in like this muted gray. There's mist roiling just over the treetops outside, curling around the mountains.
Tempest goes to summon her sword to her hand, right? But of course it's not there anymore, and so nothing happens, and she just goes, damn. What is this? This doesn't look like any place I've been.
You hear clicking heels echoing as though in a hallway outside your room.
Tempest hides, like, assuming that the door will open, she wants to hide to the side so the person coming in, so she can surprise the person if they come to her room.
Okay. So, the door opens, and you see her walk through the door. She is wearing all black, except for the places as before that changed purple. I know you're in here. We hold a connection, you and I now. I would very much
Tempest just
like
walks out.
to speak, she says as she turns to see you.
I didn't think I'd see you this quickly. I thought maybe I'd have some space to consider what happened.
As did I. But you came here.
I'm certainly... not willingly. Consciously? I don't know. Subconsciously? Is there anything between us like that that isn't conscious and subconscious at the same time now?
There is something between us. Some relationship that goes deeper and longer than magic. At least the magic of your world or the magic of any other world I've been to. Magic that is tied to an object you hold.
The card. You mean the card?
I suppose. It is not my card.
My card.
Yes. But,
Is it here with her? Can she pull it out of her pocket? Is
Yeah.
it with her? She pulls it out.
this card binds you and I in a way that I do not fully understand, to be very honest. However, I can't say that it's altogether unpleasant, because whatever you've done to me has changed me. And she brushes this brooch that has a purple stone in it. I don't know what you've done, but I've been getting flashes of memory. Things I never thought could be or would be. Memories of the place you are inhabiting now in your body. Somehow, at some point, I ended up here in all this dreadful domain, wherever it is. I was sent here, I think. I don't know by whom or by what. But something that you did has given me a degree of capability here I never had before. And she just reaches out and touches the bed, and when she does, her finger specifically dips into it, and the entire image ripples just a little. I don't know what this is or what it does, but it comes from you. I suspect there was something more in you. Something that perhaps lured me, subconsciously, metaphysically, I'm not sure, to make the pact with you at the first.
Look. When the other aspect of you said it needed to be joined with you again, to go back, it asked me if I could forgive you for all the horrible things you made me do, for all the horrible things you did to others. I can't even deal with the thought that I actually agreed. It's just too soon. It hurts in a cold way. And I don't mean cold and unfeeling. I mean that out of your head, that fight or flight, it's just cold and panicky. I'll tell you what I intended, though. I intended for you again to be whole, for the phoenix to rise again, because I believe in redemption. I know you were watching when I gave that little speech to all the criminals about how today they could decide to be better. I'm sure at the time it didn't mean anything to you, but it meant a lot to me, and hopefully to some of them. Now, though, I hope it's different. I know you won't change overnight. I'm here to watch you. But you can change. You can redeem yourself.
She brushes the brooch, and then she looks at you and reaches toward you. There is something in you. Something maybe darker, maybe brighter, I don't know, that comes from in your soul, and I can see it now. I couldn't see it before. Something that lets you have this authority, perhaps granted to me. I will do better to change. I ask that you would help me to change. Give me your promise. Not as a pact, as one between equals.
Am I agreeing to be your conscience? Would you like me to appear on your shoulder and tell you when you're doing bad things? That would be an amazing reversal of fortune.
That perhaps might leave you a bit busier than you'd like. I don't know yet what I can do for good or ill or otherwise, but I do need to tell you something is coming in that world. I was able to feel it before. I was drawn to it. I don't understand why, but perhaps it had something to do with my connection to this. Something is coming to that world, something bigger, something that has not yet happened in their cycle. The entity of hunger, they call it Korm. It's hungrier this time. It's feeding more, it's succeeding where it previously failed, and if it consumes all, Baba's cycle will never come. I believe that perhaps that's why they wanted me to come, to influence this world. Something about my shadow enabled me to hold back magic in that world. But now with the restoration of this amethyst phoenix inside me, I cannot do it anymore. So only the influence I've already sown is in the world. And I cannot undo it. I have lost my connection to the shadow. And I still can't touch that world.
Supposedly, there are other parts of you out there. Other pieces we could fit back in and bring you back to where you should have been. Are you really the mother of all the changelings?
I think I am.
Well, they need you.
I can
Every
see...
change.
Go ahead.
No, that's fine.
I can see through their eyes. I can see through the eyes of every one of those phoenixes that has already arisen. They're gathering with the Jade One in the heart of Ware in Dorian. I think whatever is coming can be stopped, or maybe it is coming there. And that is where the final act of all of this will take place. Assuming you and your compatriots live to see it.
Assuming. Voire. Back to Voire. Wait a minute, it is back, right? We were there before?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right.
I have only one thing left to say. I feel that your time is short in coming. And you realize you are actually becoming semi-translucent. I just wanted to say thank you. And as she says thank you, that last word carries on an echo. And you you wake up and it is late morning. You slept in. You slept. You didn't just trance, you slept. And there's something different inside you.
Why do all those other races prefer this? Ugh. Why does my mouth feel like old shoe leather?
So we're going to cut away real quick.
Ah. If there's something in my eye.
So how early does Wisp get up?
Much earlier than usual. Wisp is normally the last to get out of bed. Given how little rest was had, Wisp is gonna get up basically at the crack of dawn.
Okay.
And go through the routine of looking for breakfast.
Okay. You see the
Being,
servants...
being sure to grab the card off the table. I'm not leaving it there.
Of course. So you see the servants are still bustling, trying to get breakfast on the table. Right now there's only fresh fruit out. Fresh fruit that's usually used for decoration.
Is there like a courtyard or anything? Is there somewhere where Wisp could like walk the perimeter of without having to go out into the town?
Yeah. There is.
Yeah. All right. Gonna do that then.
Okay. So whereas Voire has carved mazes and topiaries, the gargoyles have natural foliage, high-rising trees that rise 5, 6, 7 stories around the castle. It's almost overgrown. But you realize as you walk through, the entire place is intentionally grown so that it's almost like an archway of a castle. It's high-rising. And the branches sometimes contain swings or other sorts of seats, and occasionally you'll see dangling bits of glass. Just decorative, catching the sunlight. The entire shaded atmosphere is actually quite peaceful. You hear bird songs. You see the sunlight dancing through the parts in the canopy. You smell fresh grass and like it's going to rain later.
I think Wisp is, you said there were like swings and whatnot. Wisp is going to sit on one, not going to actually swing on it, but just sit
Okay.
in the space.
So you sit on the swing, one of these low swings. Some of them are much higher,
Yeah, no, not messing with that.
but you just sit. It's well made. It's It's actually, it's carved in such a way of this wood. It almost feels soft when you sit on it.
Hmm.
And it's just comfortable.
Wisp is just going to take some long, slow breaths and try and compose themselves so it isn't incredibly obvious that they slept poorly when they eventually get seen by others.
Yeah. Speaking of, you look like shit.
Turn to see who that is.
Lyrical is leaning against a tree just behind you.
It's been a lot.
Gods, did you sleep at all last night? And they walk up and just start like mussing with your hair a little bit. Like, what did you do? Did you have a
Just kinda-
rager?
Just kind of shake away like I'm sure at some point in there sleep was a thing that happened. Nothing worth telling a tale about.
So, interestingly, this, and they flick out their own tarot card, and you see it's now an 8 of stars. This mean anything to you?
How often has that changed?
A lot. Pretty much daily.
Is it always a number?
It's always 8.
It's always a. Wisp pulls out the hermit card. This never changes.
Well, my power from it doesn't change. Come with me. And if you'll let them, they'll grab you by the hands and pull you off the swing.
I'll let them.
And they say, watch this. And they reach, just pressing against the tree bark, and then they push their hand into it. And all of a sudden, it's like both of you are falling for what feels like a good 30, 40 feet. And all of a sudden, you're just somewhere else. You're on a beach. And you see that it's bright and sunny and abandoned. There's a cliffside off in the distance where the waves crash. It smells like salt. The warm southerly breeze hits your face. This is what I can do. I can go anywhere.
Wisp kind of looks around a few times, like starts to say something and stops, and then just drops to their knees and punches the sand. I don't know what I'm doing. And I love that, but normally I love not knowing what I'm doing, and I love not knowing what's going to happen next. But this damned thing holds up the card. This wants something from me, and I don't know what it is. I have gone through enough of someone else trying to steer my life, and I thought I'd gotten out from that. I thought I'd found a way to take it and make it my own, and now I have this damn thing, and I don't know what it wants.
Oh, darling. And Lyrical falls to their knees and takes you by the shoulders, and then we'll just pull you in a hug. It's okay. That card, and they just kind of like hold your shoulders but just like lean out. That card doesn't want anything from you more than you want from yourself. See, I learned a lot last night. I had a visit. And I got some questions answered. And that card doesn't want anything from you, Wisp. That card is a representation of you. The reason that Baba and Krom and this bird lady and everything else, the reason they want something is because you are in control. They can control other people. They can mess with other people. But those of us that have these cards show us that our souls are freer than others. Maybe it's that we can break the rules. Maybe it's that we just have realized something about ourselves and that's why we get one. I don't know. But I do know that that card doesn't want something from you. It is a part of you. It is a representation. It represents what's in you. So if you think it wants something from you, maybe you want something from you. What do you want?
I should have left. I should have left long before this. I don't stay still. I mean, what is this thing? What, the hermit? I don't stay still. I don't settle. I thought that I'm still me and I'm still being who I am because we're always moving around and doing other stuff and meeting new people, but I've stayed with the same people. I don't do that. I mean, what is this if not telling me that I don't do that?
Maybe.
I've stayed too long. I've stayed way too long.
Maybe. But maybe, just maybe, you're the hermit because you're the one that gets everyone else going. Maybe you're the hermit because you know yourself better than they know themselves. Maybe you're the hermit because that's who you want to be. I don't know. What I do know is my whole life, I had nobody. I grew up without anybody, and they will pull their shirt off on one side and turn around and show you there's scars all along their back. They shift their form into an elf, then a dwarf, then a gargoyle tiefling, then a birdfolk, before shifting back to how they normally present, and every time those scars stay there. My earliest memory was being in a tiny village in the middle of nowhere at all. in the ardent frontier. My adoptive parents, pioneers. But when I was 8, I saw my first elf, and I thought he was the most gorgeous person I'd ever seen, and I wanted to be like him. And then I was, and then I wasn't, and I had this. And they gesture to themselves. And they beat me for it. The entire village shunned me and said I was a monster. And I had nowhere to go, and I ran from place to place to place my whole life. And I convinced myself I didn't want a home, I didn't need a home. I still don't know if I do. Eventually, I met my beloveds. They were already together. They were part of a traveling circus, and they invited me to join, and I thought at least then I'd be traveling with somebody. And then the circus, it was fine. It was more accepting than my village. But they fancied themselves a lot more accepting than they were. And all it took was one night where the town that we were in didn't like there was a changeling, and they made threats, and the ringmaster said that I should just ignore it and move on, and we would leave in the morning. And they didn't stick up for me except for my husband and my wife. They stuck up for me. And the three of us left that night. And we never looked back, and we became our own traveling troupe. And I've come to realize that whether you go, whether you stay, whatever it is, it doesn't actually matter where you are. What matters is who you're with, who loves you for you, who accepts you for you, who will keep you safe without expecting anything back. These waves crash, and the breeze just blows their hair a little bit, and they look you dead in the eyes, and they say, maybe you're not happy because you don't know how to be. I didn't know how to be for a long time.
You know why I travel?
Why?
Before I was with these people.
Tell me.
If you were to ask me, my answer is it's just how fawns are, and a little, yeah, some of us, a lot of us, but even by fawn standards, I move a lot. I stay for as long as my charm and my talent will get people to overlook whatever else they might think of me. And maybe that's a week, maybe that's just one night, but I'm good at what I do, and I can charm anybody to at least get through the night and then be gone before it wears off. And I don't have to run from them hating me because I don't stick around long enough to find out if they do. But that's still running, and I know that, and I do it anyway.
Are you afraid of what they'll think of you?
I'm afraid they'll ask me to stay, and I don't know how to do that.
You know, one thing I found is that if people ask you to stay, it's because they like you. And if they really like you, they'll be okay if you still want to go. And if you like them back, you'll come back to them at least sometimes. And if you really, really like them back, you might even invite them to come with you. But you know, it doesn't matter if you like anybody or not, if you don't like yourself. Because that's something that I had to learn. I had a really hard time looking for other people's approval for years. And then one day David just knocked me on my ass, literally, and he told me that what other people think about me is none of my business. But what I think of myself is everything. If you want, I'll get David. He can knock you on your ass.
Depending on how metaphorical you're being, I might take you up on that.
Well, you were a lovely dancer the first time.
I tell stories in the way that I tell them because it feels right, but I tell other people's stories so I don't have to think about my own. You ask if I like myself, and I honestly don't know, because I'd have to stop and assess my own story to know if I like me. And I have not been good at doing that.
Maybe that's what that is about. And they point, and you can see that your card is glowing with like this teal light, just thrumming gently. And it doesn't feel angry, it doesn't feel like it's watching, it just feels maybe like when you see a rabbit in the middle of the woods and it's not sure what to make of you, but it wants to stay and see.
Well, and I'm directing this at the card. If you are an extension of me, then I guess we're overdue to get to know each other, aren't we? I'm going to look up at Lyrical and just say, I think I'm ready to go back.
Okay. And they dig a handful of sand, and as they pull it up, it's almost like you once again are falling before you land back in the swing. And Lyrical just empties their hand of the sand. Well, I guess that's why this thing thought I should be here. And they tap on their own card. I figured out how to move people and things from place to place. So, you know, if you ever need me, just call. I can maybe help you guys.
Do I have permission to hug you?
Of course.
And immediately, upon approval, boom.
And they hug you back. You'll be okay, Wisp. Everything will eventually be okay.
I've been okay for a long time. I'm ready to be good.
Well, then that sounds like something between you, yourself, and they gesture to the card.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm gonna go get some breakfast because I want a morning drink, but I need a muffin first.
That sounds like a wonderful idea. And if they're headed back in, I'll accompany them.
I'm not allowed in the palace. I just kind of showed up here and nobody's noticed me yet. They might not be happy if I crash breakfast.
Tell me what you want and I'll sneak something out for you.
I could really go for one of these cranberry orange muffins that the baker makes. They're apparently the best thing ever.
And to drink?
Anything strong. The stronger the better.
I'll see what I can do. And I'll head back into the food.
Okay. So I was going to shoot to Anu, but I think we're going to Marissa instead. So, Nim. Oh, there you are. Well, we'll go to Nim and then we'll go to Anu. So,
Advantage.
Nim, what do you do when you get up?
Nim wakes up a little bit early, but mostly so she has some time to enjoy another bath. Just really wants to take advantage of this, given that occasionally there just aren't enough baths for the adventuring lifestyle. So she wakes up, kind of stretches and hops in another bath, and then once she's done, she heads down for breakfast.
Okay. And you head down for breakfast, and you see there is a little servant boy. He is a gargoyle. His wings are not quite big enough to carry him anywhere, and his tail's like a little too big, like he's gonna grow into that. And he's setting out this platter of muffins and pastries next to the ham, bacon, and sausage platter. And he looks up to you and he's like, "Miss, you smell really nice."
That's a very sweet thing to say. What's your name?
My name is Johnson.
Well, Johnson, do you work here?
Yeah, I'm helping my mom right now.
It's very nice of you. Well, what else do you do? Are you in school? What's going on?
Nim seeing an opportunity to
What's
maybe help
school?
a child.
Oh, it's the best. It's where you learn new things. You do not have a school here for kids?
No, we learn things all the time.
Okay, but so there's no buildings where all the kids go during the day and you learn to read and write and...
Oh, you mean the scriptorium? No, we don't want to go there.
Oh, well, no, it's a little different. It's where, you learn to read and to write, and you learn about history.
Oh, my mom said I'm not allowed to go there because those are naughty pictures.
This is interesting.
It's an abandoned building, but a lot of the naughty kids go there.
Oh, okay. I have so many questions. I'm going to need to speak with Sarwin. It's very nice to meet you, Johnson. Do you mind if I grab some breakfast?
Oh, of course. Here, let me help. And he grabs a plate and he starts piling on an inordinate amount of sausage. You're pretty sure this kid likes sausage a good bit. And they start slathering this gravy all over it.
Oh, well, that's, just slow down there. Thank you very much. I'm going to grab a little bit of fruit,
And she grabs several apples and puts them in her apron, and then takes the plate and says her goodbyes. So she's going to go find Sarwin and find out about why there's no school here.
Okay. So, Sarwin actually walks into the room right around the time that you start walking out, and she almost runs into you. Oh, good morning.
Thing is that, well, I have a question.
Yes.
Are there schools here?
Schools?
you know where all the kids go to learn. I don't mean to be culturally insensitive. If there is another way, I was just curious because there was a young man working here and he seemed rather young to be working, and I thought, you know, just in case there was another option for children. But he seemed to think that there were naughty pictures in schools. I was a little confused. But and there was a building for bad kids. So I guess so. No schools. Is that what I'm?
School is a very human idea.
Mm-hmm.
We allow our children to come on apprenticeships when they are of age, but generally they are left to their own devices. Some of them choose to do things. Was it Johnson?
Yes, that sweet angel baby.
Johnson, his father died a couple years ago, and ever since then he's sort of remained around his mother a lot. He comes here to help. We allow him to do whatever he likes, and we give him a bit of coin for it.
Oh well, fantastic. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. You know, sometimes kids get thrown into situations where they have no control, but they don't need to be there. So I just wanted to make sure. Again, apologies if I'm overstepping, but I just you want to make sure, just in case.
Of course, yes. No, that makes sense. School is a very human idea, and a little bit dwarven, but their schools are quite different. I hear the Aslari have a school for their children, but it's more martial, and we're not sure we agree with the Aslar way. But yes, Johnson is quite helpful. You must have a way with children.
Oh, well, I do enjoy them. I don't know if I necessarily have a way. Just given, how many of them have played pranks on me throughout my life. But I do take care of them. I do enjoy them, It's just, it's something that I used to do before I, started doing what I do now. I'm not sure if either of my professions really have a title per se, but yes, I do. I have worked with children.
I see. Well, he doesn't open up easily to many people, so consider yourself fortunate.
I do, indeed.
But anyway, what's for breakfast? Anything good?
There is a lot of very good things there. Don't ask Johnson to make you a plate, though. He's going to give you so much sausage, and I fear that I will have heartburn for the next 3 weeks.
Yes, he does tend to like the meats and the proteins. The gravy is actually something that his mother makes. She's our cook. That's something she brought with her.
Well, it's fantastic. I'm glad that he has this opportunity to work with his mom and do these things.
Yes. If you are interested, we do have a bit of a problem. I presume it's related to those naughty children that he mentioned. There have been some explosions at the docks lately, and we suspect it may be some delinquent mage children. Unfortunately, the Scriptoriad has failed to wrangle them. And frankly speaking, our head of Scriptoriad is rather, shall we say, gentle.
Well, I would be interested to hear more about this issue, and I'm happy to help in any capacity that I can. I do know that mage children can be a particular handful, and I do have some experience with them. I will say that, a willful child is a willful child, but, I think that just any opportunity you have to steer them in the right direction is always a good opportunity to take.
I agree. If you'll excuse me, I'm going to get some breakfast and get going on my duties for the day. Have a wonderful day, Nim.
I will. You too.
And she goes to get her breakfast. What has Anu been doing this morning? Anu, you tranced for 4 hours. So what have you been up since, and what are you doing?
I've been waiting for everyone else to get up, but I also want to go get breakfast for myself.
Okay. So, you can go in anytime you want. You can go earlier than Nim. You can go right about now. Whatever you choose.
I guess I was... guess I'm going in after Nim.
Okay. So you go in after Nim, and you see there's this little boy sort of like scurrying around, trying to set things right. He's doing a little bit too much with just trying to make it like perfectly aligned. And he looks over at you and he's like, "You look really cool. Are those knives sharp?"
I don't understand how this keeps happening. What? Yes, they are. Please don't touch them.
Oh, please. They look really sharp.
Exactly. Do you want to lose a finger? You need them to do whatever it is you're doing right now.
Oh, I'm just setting things to be nice for the king.
You're doing a very, very good job.
Thank you. Is that a real crossbow?
Why would I have a fake one?
I don't know. Because they're cool and safer than real crossbows?
Yeah, but they're not very useful.
That's true. Can I fire it? And he starts reaching for it.
I lightly dab his hand away.
Oh.
I mean, where would you even shoot it in here?
There. And he points upward, and you see this, like, massive deer's head that's mounted on the wall. It got shot with arrows once. I could do it again.
But can you, though? You think you could aim and hit it and not make a mess?
I mean, I did once with the general's bow until he yelled at me.
Okay, I gotta see this.
Oh no.
So he will take the crossbow if you hand it to him.
I'm gonna hand him the crossbow. I'm gonna give him not a silver bow, but just the regular bow.
Okay. Oh my gosh, he got a 19. So he twangs it and the thing goes right in the forehead.
That is fantastic aim.
I told you. I'm really, really good at it. Someday,
Sweet.
I might even like have my own bow or my own crossbow.
Do you know how to save money for one? Because they can get pretty expensive.
Well, that's why I work here. I get lots of money.
That's good. Tell you what, you go give me a plate of food, and I will give you some more money.
Yeah. And he will go and get you a plate, and it is piled high with bacon because there's not a lot of sausage left. There's just like a pile of bacon strips, and they like slathers gravy on top. So it's just like bacon mountain plus gravy.
Cool.
Here you go.
I'm gonna need a beverage, and so you guys have fruit. Do you have fruit here?
Yeah, there's fruit all over the place. It's not wax, I promise.
Okay, can I get a fruit?
He will reach on the table and grab you a fruit.
Okay, thank you. I'm just gonna, let me see how much I got in my pocket. I got inventory. Oh, cool. I will give him a silver coin.
Wow, thank you. I'm definitely going to use this.
You're supposed to save it for a crossbow.
I am.
Okay.
And he will take out this little pouch, and it actually has like a fair few gold coins in it.
Nice.
Oh, that reminds me. I'm supposed to do a job. I have to go do my job.
Okay.
And he like runs off and he like kind of scampers and then he like extends his wings to glide a little bit. He only glides about 5 feet before landing again.
That's cute.
And Wisp arrives.
So much damn bacon.
And Nim, in the hallway, Johnson nearly crashes into you as he's carrying this box. It's like a little lock box. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And he keeps going.
Oh, no worries. What are you? Slow down. Be safe. What? This kid.
Walking feet.
Yeah, walking feet.
And yeah, Wisp, you show up and Anu has this plate that's like piled high with bacon and it's just slathered in gravy.
Well, I mean, if that's what you're in the mood for.
I can't believe I paid for this plate.
Wisp is not to be rude, but Wisp is gonna kind of beeline for the food to grab that muffin and a strong breakfast drink.
Okay. So you beeline, you have a choice of breakfast drinks. There are mimosas already made. And then there is also like a bottle of a vintage wine. And then you have like a square glass jug of whiskey.
Are there glasses in front of the bottles or just the
Yep.
bottles out?
Yeah, there's glasses.
All right. So what are the other baked goods besides the muffins?
I'm sorry?
What are the other baked goods besides the muffins?
There are blueberry pastries. They are kind of like a strudel. And you have, there is what looks like a Danish, but it's piled high with like different kinds of fresh fruit. And it's not actually like cooked. It's like a tart. I can't think of the name. But it's piled high with fresh fruit. It's a flaky, buttery pastry, and it has like white icing drizzled on top of it.
Okay. I'm going to grab one of those for myself, the muffin, and I'm going to pour 2 glasses with the whiskey and take all that back the way I came.
Okay. So, you take it back out to Lyrical, and Lyrical's just like, impressive.
Oh, I wasn't even trying to do anything fancy there. You should see me when I try.
Yeah, you didn't even spill any. That's amazing.
You pick up a lot of tangential skills. I'm going to offer the drink and the muffin.
All right, they take them, and as they're eating, they just sort of look at you and say, so, what are you doing today?
Well, I think the only thing on my to-do list, other than make sure Charlie did actually wake up, is going to see if I can get the king to put a shopping spree. Would actually be really lovely.
Shopping spree sounds fun. Maybe while you're at it, you can, get the recipe for these.
Well, any good cook wouldn't be selling it.
That's fair. Anyway, I should probably get going. We're all headed out at the end of the day. I don't know what your group's plans are, but we're headed into VERA. So, I really sincerely hope that you find whatever you're looking for, wherever it is.
Thank you. And if we end up heading that direction, which we'll have to eventually, at the most, I very much hope to see you again.
Here. They pull out a silver, what looks like a penny whistle. Take this. Blow in it.
I'll give it a little blow.
And another penny whistle that they're wearing around their neck starts sounding. If you ever need me, blow that and I'll find you.
All right. So, Stephen, as a practical matter, is this penny whistle silver
Yep.
or is it something else?
It is made of silver and it's enchanted.
Okay. I just want to be... I'm going to need to, like, tie a ribbon or something because I don't want to confuse it with the similar silver penny whistle I got from Argent.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm also carrying that.
Yep.
All right. I need to find, like, a little colored string or something to tie on the end of one of these.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just going on in my head. Thank you.
You're welcome. In fact, make a perception or investigation roll.
Perception, investigation. Investigation's not awful. That's not good though. You know what? We're gonna roll that again. That is barely any better. That is a 10.
It's enough.
Yay!
Both of them have a little seal that is emblazoned on it that looks similar. It's 3 music notes in a circle, and the circle is actually what looks like a crescent moon behind it.
And that's the same on both?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've met someone before who gave me something very similar to this. For a similar purpose.
Really?
Hmm.
Well then, I guess you have a lot of friends under the moon.
It would seem I do.
And they wink and just lean backwards, and it's almost like the tree swallows them as they just and they're gone.
Wisp is gonna just shake their head smiling and head back in, start working on that tart.
Okay. The tart the fruit is sweet and sour, and it is delicious with the buttery pastry. And the buttery pastry is flaky and it's soft. It's still warm. Like, this was fresh.
Wonderful. Getting in sips of the drink as well.
And, Tempest, you wake up to your door shutting.
To it shutting?
Uh-huh.
She startles and hops out of bed.
And you see a little boy he's a little gargoyle boy putting this little lockbox on your vanity. Oh, sorry, I wasn't trying to be loud. I didn't mean to wake you. I was trying really hard not to wake you. I'm sorry. Please don't tell them I woke you up.
No, it's fine. Wait a minute. Woke me up.
Yeah. Yeah, you were snoring.
I don't know. That's impossible. That's impossible.
You're right. It wasn't snoring. It was just something that sounded like...
Okay.
You were doing a pig impression.
Sure. Of course. I do that all the time.
Oh.
Thank you for dropping that off. You may leave now.
Thank you. You know, your pig impression would be better if you, hold one nostril closed when you do it.
Noted. And what was your name?
Johnson?
Johnson.
Yeah.
Is that your first name? Surname?
Yeah, I was named for my dad. Johannes.
John. So you're John's son.
Yeah.
And so your name's Johnson.
Yeah.
That is incredibly logical. Incredibly logical, Johnson. Well, who sent this?
The king, King Korm.
Yes. Haven't interacted with very many kings on this plane of existence. So, okay. Well, do you know what it is?
He said it was a reward for helping save our entire race.
He exaggerates, but, okay. Okay, thank you. I need to get dressed now.
You're welcome. Sorry I got you up. Please don't tell them. And he, like, leaves out the door really quickly.
Okay. Yeah, she goes and picks up the box.
It will open up if you want to open it up.
Sure.
All right, you have 5,000 gold pieces in it, as well as yours has an black opal.
A black opal.
A black opal. It is worth 20,000 more gold.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it also has a handwritten note that is clearly scrawled in the king's messy, sloppy, he spilled the ink at one time handwriting. And it is a note that uses language that you're pretty sure he doesn't normally use because some of the words are misspelled, but it's very big, very flowery language that more or less lavishes a number of thank yous and various wordings.
Well, I'm sure Tempest can't tell if it's spelled wrong because who knows how things are spelled on different planes of existence. She's just happy that most of the time she understands what people are saying.
And all of you will similarly have a box in your room waiting for you that has the same 2,000 gold pieces. Or, I'm sorry, it was 500 gold pieces and 2,000 gold piece gem.
No, you've changed it like 3
Did
times.
I?
Now.
Hold on,
You
let me
said
look.
5,000 gold pieces. I'm like, how did that kid pick up 5,000
No.
gold pieces? I don't know, but that's
Sorry,
fantastic.
it's a 5,000 gold piece gem is what it is
Oh.
here. 5,000
Okay.
gold piece gem. There we go.
And
Sorry.
how much
I didn't
gold?
look.
So, and how many gold
Oh
pieces?
no. I lost the Zoom call because I was looking at my note. I pulled my note up. Hold on. I need to expand you guys real quick. There we go. Sorry. Okay.
I have been
I should have
expanding.
looked at my notes at the beginning. So,
Where'd we go?
5,000 gold piece gem, a 200 gold pieces.
Okay.
Each
200.
200. I misread. I know things. I just don't act like it. So, 5,000 gold gem. And then... Oh, I didn't finish that table because it was supposed to be a magic item for each of you that was worth that much. That's what I did wrong. Okay. I apologize. You guys each have, we will say, a very rare magic item that you can choose. We'll say that. That way you get to customize your stuff a little better.
Okay, I'm gonna have to decide
Very
on that
rare
later.
magic
Yeah.
item.
Yeah.
Sorry, I realize it just says worth. Yeah, that was my bad.
Okay.
I know things. I just don't act like it. I need to pay more attention to my notes and finish them on a thing. Okay, apologies for that. I know things.
Tempest goes down to breakfast.
Tempest
People are
goes down to
there.
breakfast right around the time that Wisp arrives back, just after Wisp arrives back and has her interaction with Anu.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning. Your hair's a little disheveled. Did you actually sleep?
I don't know. She actually, in character, is, like, starts itching her head. anyone who looks closely will see that her roots are purple instead of the stark black that they normally are.
That's an interesting look.
I know I should have washed it or something, but I had the bath last night. It's a lovely bath too. But I'm so itchy now. Was there something in that? What did they put in the bath? It smelled great, but my skin is just peeling.
You need to moisturize.
I guess I do.
How are you feeling otherwise? You haven't happened to vomit up black anything, have you? Or vomit at all, really? I guess the color is irrelevant. You should generally just not vomit, I guess. How are you feeling this morning?
It's not like we're eating breakfast or anything. Tell us.
I feel fine. I had another conversation with powerful beings. But yes, I'm feeling quite energetic. Quite
That's
energetic,
good.
ready to get back in, but itchy. And what is this in my eye? Ugh.
That's just a thing that happens. You definitely slept.
Ugh. Ugh. Quick, I need something to drink. My mouth tastes like an old shoe. She grabs some fruit juice and sits down. And other than being itchy and her hair growing in purple. Oh, did you get the box?
So Stephen, when you said in terms of us getting that, is that stuff waiting for us back when we get to our rooms, or were they there when we woke up?
They are waiting for you now when you get to your rooms.
Okay. So,
And I just put it in our Discord so everybody can see what it is. If you have reference for the DM's guide for the 200,000 gold piece magic item, that is just how much magic items cost in D&D. They're like wildly expensive.
They are.
Excuse
Absolutely.
me.
Did you get the box?
not when I woke up. So unless it's there now, I'm gonna say no.
Johnson delivered me a box.
I don't know a Johnson. I'm gonna
Well,
kinda-
you'll definitely be delighted in the box. I assume we're all given it, but if not, don't say anything. So, what was your opinion of Ware?
Which time that we were there, because that's kind of a moving target.
The thing is, I think we need to go back to Ware.
Nim, if you want to come back around this time, you can, because everybody else is there.
I walk in with
All right.
like a plate still very heavy with sausage because I cannot eat it all.
Have you picked at any of it?
I've had like enough bites to like be one serving.
Oh, sausage. That looks good. She just literally takes it off your plate. Yes, Ware. What, how do you all feel about Ware? I was there for such a short time.
It's nice on a good day.
Well, we probably have to go back to Ware. In fact, we have to go to... what was the place with a T there, Themian?
Oh, Dorian is the capital.
Dorian, yeah. Probably Dorian.
Oh,
Any particular reason why this is so pressing?
I think that's where the rest of the phoenixes are. And after what happened before, it it's probably important that we help them out.
Is that in character or out of character? That, like, she knows that, like, not all the phoenixes are there yet because there's more to be found, but, like, the ones that you're finding are going there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll rephrase that. I think all the phoenixes are going to VERA, and I think it's going to be very important for us to return there.
Well, if that's where the phoenixes are going, I would think we should find the others first and then make that the eventual destination afterwards. If that makes sense.
Fine. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't a problem with VERA in general. Yes, that makes sense. Do we know what the next one is?
We're in pretty good standing in VERA of the places we've been.
Unfortunately, every time we go back to VERA, something is terribly wrong.
I wasn't going to bring that part up, but yes, there's also that.
Mm-hmm.
But as a rule, we generally don't get blamed for it.
Generally.
I like not getting blamed for things. especially when I do them, but also when I don't do them.
I've yet to be caught.
Actually, yes, that's true. Because every time someone's caught you, they've died.
No witnesses, no crime.
Mm-hmm.
So what's our plan? Because the more eldritch beings visit me in my, I guess, sleep, the more determined I am to finish this as soon as possible.
Anu, you had something that was giving us an indication. What's it look like?
Do we have to roll something for this?
For which? The compass?
Yeah.
Nope, you can just pull it out and use it.
Okay. I'm gonna put it on the table.
Yeah, ever since
Next to
Nuka
my-
was birthed, you don't have to roll to use it.
Okay. I'm gonna put that on the table, like call out Nuka so he can eat the rest of this baking mess.
Okay.
Oh, bacon, do you mind? Grab some
If you
bacon.
don't mind sharing it with the dragon.
And all of a sudden, this miniature dragon just like hops up on the table, and you see he kind of goes, and he sniffs it, and just like almost like a snake unhinges its jaw. He unhinges his jaw and just, and then all of a sudden, there's bacon chunks and gravy flying everywhere.
Oh, and now I'm gonna have to take another bath.
But
There are worse things.
Yeah. There are worse things.
Yeah, let's check this compass. Now, is it like an arrow or is it like it glows? And...
So, full disclosure, I kind of stole this concept. Have you ever seen Monster Rancher, the anime?
I don't remember it.
It's
but-
basically like a gemstone that has what looks like a phoenix appearing, and it flies and turns into an arrow and then points in a direction.
Okay.
And so this time the phoenix is not red or purple. It is now yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And direction?
It is towards the Ardent Frontier where you guys were sailing.
Do you think we'll need a ship again?
I would say so.
We have
I know
plenty of
just
money
the
to
ship.
buy.
Gonna say, pretty sure we have a trip or two that we can cash in for that.
What was that, Anu?
Huh?
You said something.
My mouth is moving. I have a split in my lip, so I've just been playing with it.
So, you guys, at this point, have your treasure in tow. I presume, Wisp, are you wanting to go purchase that sword?
Yes.
Okay. That sword is a +2 sword.
Okay.
It is the sword of the... wait, hold on.
Omen.
Let me pull it. I need to pull it up because it's one of 2 swords I designed that were potentials for your character. This is the Sword of the Zephyr. Okay, I almost said it was the other one. No, this one's the Sword of the Zephyr. So it lets you add your charisma modifier to your speed with 5 feet per +1.
Ooh.
And it also lets you add your proficiency bonus to your armor class. So +2 to attack and damage, proficiency bonus to armor class. So I'm gonna have to update your character sheet with a new armor class.
Yes, you are.
And
you
you
gotta
add-
DM me those stats.
Okay, let me pull that up. But yeah, you get that sword, and of course, the Forge Master winks at you and says, "I don't deal in magic, remember, just things that are very special."
Oh, this is wonderfully fancy.
And
How much did that cost me?
200 gold. That's it.
Boom.
Steven, I have a question.
Yes.
Do phoenixes, pheni,
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Do they have their own language?
They don't have their own language. They communicate telepathically, and when they communicate, it's not often with words, though Wisp could tell you sometimes it is. Like with the chromatic one, it prefers words. It depends on the individual component, the individual phoenix. If they
Okay.
prefer words versus pictures versus sounds versus emotions.
But they make the effort to communicate based on who they're communicating with, is what you're saying. Like they figure out what language they need to speak, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That being said, you can, because start with a perception check, actually. Perception or investigation. Let's start there.
Okay, let me find my dice.
Because there
'Cause I
was a
haven't had to
thing that
roll.
you guys didn't get before, but now you might.
And what, perception or investigation?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. 15?
15. That's enough. So as you're walking down this hallway in this castle, you do notice, actually, those decorative symbols are text, like language. Because you have that new feature.
Mm-hmm. Do
So,
I know this language?
you don't know it.
But let's say, how much longer are we going to be here, and do I have time to study it?
You do have time to study it.
Okay.
So,
Okay, I'm going to spend this day, 8 hours
Uh-huh.
of intense study.
Okay. So you just sit there looking at the wall for a good portion of time. Occasionally, Sarowyn gives you an odd look as she walks past. The servants often ask you, do you need something? You get brought a ham sandwich for lunch with a little olive on a toothpick.
Yeah, perfect.
And you can gather that this is infernal.
Ooh.
And it tells the history of how the gargoyles came into the plane ages ago.
Mm-hmm.
And how they were brought here as one of the 13 races. In fact, give me an investigation or history roll, your choice.
I'm going to use my inspiration.
Okay.
Where's my history? 13.
13. This mural, as you start walking all of the halls of the castle and gathering it together, it gives you a history of the world. It gives you a divergent creation myth, possibly supplementary. Only the changelings, according to this history, are native to this plane. The other races were brought here from other worlds before it all was closed off and the cycles first began. And that's where we're going to cut it off, as you have discovered a new big mystery of the world with your fun orator feature where you get to mess with languages and stuff. And yeah, thank you guys for playing. Thank you everyone for watching. Sorry for my incompetence with technical difficulties, not reading and preparing my notes properly and all the business. But thank you for joining us. And until next time, everybody, whether it's on the page or at the table, make sure to always tell your story your way. Bye, everybody.